Hi, I'm Lisa,
Hi, I'm Brianne.
and we're volunteers with the Durham Alliance Outreach.
Today we're going to be talking to you about our program for the calming kits. Now, this program was made possible by the support of the Government of Canada's Emergency Community Support Fund, Durham Community Foundation, and the Community Foundations of Canada. So what is a calming kit, you might be asking yourself? So a calming kit is a type of container that you can put together for yourself that allows you to de-stress, to calm your mind. It allows you to stop yourself from feeling overwhelmed or any sensory overload, like too much excitement or noise. And if you're feeling like things are going in a different direction, it's really important for you to have this kit in order to bring yourself back to the now instead of focusing on the future or the past. So who can use it?
Well, anyone and everyone can actually use these kits. They can be modified for different age groups. They can be brought into the workplace, home life, schools. People all over the world are using these kits. They may have different titles to them. We chose to use calming kit because we want to de-stress the situation and just be a little bit more relaxed.
Another question that is common to ask is, why do we use a calming kit? Now, we use calming kits because it refocuses the body, the mind, and the soul. So it brings you back into a place of well-being, as well as redirects your mind from things that, might be going on in your life that you just need a little bit of a break from. Now, how we cope and manage with stress is kind of the difference between being healthy and feeling unhealthy in life.
With that too, I know there's some situations where I'm going to say a student, maybe as an example, where they're at school and they're feeling a lot of pressure from tests or, peer pressure and stuff, and they're sometimes people can get anxiety attacks or they just feel just so overwhelmed, they're not sure what to do. Well, where this calming kit is something that you can go to, and it's a tool that when you open it up, it brings your mind back to focusing on something else. Well, with these kits, they're not meant to cure anything. What they're meant to do is it's a coping skill to bring you again back into the now. So ideally the goal, again, it's not to go from 100 degrees down to 0. Your goal is to take these baby steps. And with every baby step, we need to really celebrate and just, we need to just focus.
Let's talk about what kind of things are in these starter kits, because they essentially are. They're starter kits that you can personalize and make your own as time goes on.
Some of them have meanings behind it. Some of them are stuff that you can just kind of focus and play with and have like a little bit of fun. So one of the articles in there is a puzzle piece. So the puzzle piece is very meaningful. A lot of people are going, it's just a puzzle piece. Well, it's not really. Because puzzle pieces can come in different sizes, different shapes, different colors. But each puzzle piece can either represent a part of yourself, or it could be a part of the community, or a part of humanity, really. So these puzzle pieces, eventually, they come together and they become a whole. So if you start working on one piece at a time, then that fulfillment starts to come. And then another way of looking at it too is, this puzzle piece might connect with that person beside you, but it may not. But eventually it will connect and it becomes that whole again. So in the mass puzzle of yourself, or again, being part of a community or a family, this puzzle piece is just a small representative of being part of a whole.
So it's where you feel you fit, like
Yeah.
your overall fit within yourself as well as outside.
Yeah, absolutely. And then from there, we've also included a mint. And a mint is just to remind you that you're worth a mint to your family, your friends. And it's to remind you on who's your go-to person. Like if you're upset, is there somebody that you can call, that one person that you might be able to call just to say, you know what, hey, I need to vent. And knowing that that person to you, like you mean a lot. Yeah. There's always somebody that you know that means like a lot. Another article that we included is a Bandaid. And the Bandaid is to remind you to heal hurt feelings, yours or someone else's. I mean, sometimes we say things that we're, not over particularly fond of, and we'd like to take time back or take a chance to go back. But this is a reminder just to do some healing. Or maybe something was said to you and you feel hurt. So the Bandaid, it kind of brings it back together and allows the healing process to start.
So another item we have in our little calming kit is the eraser, which it kind of looks small, but it has a lot of meaning. So the eraser allows you to kind of sit there and think. If you don't like something that's going on, you can always change it. Now, you can't erase some of the stuff that's happening or that goes on, but it allows you to make further changes for your future instead of focusing on small things like the present. And when we think about that differently, it kind of brings that change into full circle where it makes you feel, I guess, a lot better. It's that positivity that comes through in the end.
Yeah, I guess it gives you that choice too. Like if you decide to go one way, that you can always back it up.
Yeah, you can always change direction.
Yes. Yeah.
Go in the direction that you feel you need to. So another item that we have is the lovely rubber bands. They just remind you to be more flexible. Like if something's not going in the direction you want it to, that's okay. If you're more flexible with what's going on, you're gonna find that a lot more positivity is coming your way and you're not gonna think as negatively, and it allows you to just kind of, I guess, go with the flow, if that makes sense.
Yeah. The one thing too with the elastic, they're great for fidgeting.
Yeah.
Sometimes I tie them around. I have my own on here, and you take it off and you just kind of play and stretch with it. It just a whole different feeling.
Another big thing we have, which seems odd to some people, is the pencil and the pen. Now, these are more physical, where you have to, I guess you not have to, but you can use them or other drawing or writing utensils to write down your blessings for the day. Instead of, starting your day off with, maybe not so good thoughts or feelings, write down all the blessings that you have, like family, friends, love, all those important things in your life. Because when you think about the important things, you're definitely going to have a better day. I mean, at least I find I have a better day.
I think even just gratitude towards the things that we tend to forget about or things we take for granted, even just waking up in the morning. I know with some people that have mental health.
Well, you getting out of bed, from personal experience, getting out of bed can be difficult.
Absolutely.
So even just getting out of bed is
getting
huge
dressed,
thing.
getting anything, and just writing those, what, today I woke up and got out of bed and got dressed, or today I, woke up and opened up the curtains. I think those are really big things to write down so you can go and read back what you've done. And it's celebrating those baby steps.
Well, rereading them, I find as well is, it brings that positively back into light.
Yeah. Okay, so then the next one we have is affirmations. This I find, and again, for personal use, I have one of these kits at home. And the affirmation, and there are a lot of them, they're just positive sayings and just phrases and stuff on things that we can remember, like, dear future, I am ready for you. It's really important to start thinking about stuff like that, or there's like a couple other ones in here.
And I do notice that they are front and back, which is really important.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So there's another one that says, I will love myself for who I am.
Which is really important. I think that's a really good reminder to have for everyone.
Yeah, and then there's other things like the distress tolerance about stop and improving the moment. And so there's a lot of different phrases.
So this is more for changing your mindset and redirecting it in a way you want.
Yeah, kind of thinking more on the positive opposed to focusing on the negative.
Yeah.
And then the other thing we have is a chewing gum. And the chewing gum is to remind you to stick with it. And if you can accomplish what you want to, triumph is the oomph, to try. Trying is to discover new interests and new strengths. So as we progress in life and as we change or get older or days or moments go by, you might find you may have been interested in one thing, but by tomorrow you might be interested in something else, or you might want to try something. Like, I don't know who knits anymore, but some people might want to try knitting or crocheting or going for a walk if you're not usually an outdoor person.
So kind of bringing on new hobbies and
yeah,
activities
absolutely.
to kind of
trying to rediscover yourself or
find out
rebuild
who you
yourself.
are a bit more.
Yeah. And then we have another thing, a notebook. So this one just says thoughts. Now in the kits, some of these articles are a little bit different, so there are different notebooks with amongst the kits, or there might be, a different color pencil or pen, but this particular notebook, it just has thoughts on it and nice and colorful. It's to remind you of the positive in each and every day. It express your thoughts, feelings, and emotions through creative outlet, choosing, and again, you say choosing. If you're not a big person for writing or journaling, you can sketch, you can draw, you can doodle, you can scribble, you can, poetry, whatever you decide for this notebook is something to yours to express yourself with.
I know a lot of people that I know, like I'm different, I write things down, but what they do is they have pictures, and every time they draw a picture, they can remember the feelings and the emotions that went along when they were drawing that photo, and it just brings them back to that time, allows them to feel it, and then really sit back into the world, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's almost a form of acceptance when you're writing it down, or a point that you can maybe breathe and help get it out of your system in a positive way.
Yeah. Another thing we have in the kit is a tea bag. The tea bag actually reminds you to relax daily, which not a lot of us in the world we live in, not a lot of us do anymore. But something as simple as just having a tea or a coffee or just a warm beverage can help really relax you, in the sense of it just gives you that moment to have that deep breath and just release.
The awe moment.
Yeah,
whether it's that first cup of coffee in the morning or
that deep
tea.
sigh moment.
Yeah, that very relaxing.
The other thing we have is tissues. And the tissues just remind you that your feelings are important. It allows you to validate your feelings. Like if you're feeling sad, it's okay to feel sad. Let yourself feel sad. If you want to cry, cry. If you don't. But it allows you to remind yourself that every feeling we get, every emotion, doesn't matter what one it is important. And it's an important part of ourselves that we have to recognize.
Yeah, so I think allowing yourself to be in that moment, it's okay. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel angry. Allow yourself to release it and then move on.
Yeah.
Like try and move forward into, okay, I've cried. You know what? I feel a little bit better that I cried. So what's the next step that I could take?
Yeah, what's something else that I can do that makes me feel a little bit better?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the kit comes in, where it's got multiple different things to help you feel better. The other thing that we have, which I noticed, which is very beautiful, is our river rocks that actually have small little, I guess you can call them affirmations on them.
Yeah, little handwritten.
Yeah, so this one actually just says breathe, which is really nice. So these river rocks remind you, I guess, to ground yourself. Like it's something, like for some people it can be spiritual, for some people it's emotional, or sometimes it's actually just physically grounding yourself. And that reminds you that I guess everything is constant and it's changing, just like the river flows. It's constantly moving, but when you ground yourself, you can feel solidity in what you're doing, how you're feeling, and moving forward with your life.
Yeah, the other good thing too is when you're in the part where you're feeling really stressed and stuff, with the river rock and a few other things that are in the kits, it's something that you can just sit and you can feel it, feel the texture, kind of focus on like what color is the rock, is there any markings on it, try and like really take a hard, strong look at the rock, feel how heavy it is.
Take that moment to take it in, essentially.
Yeah, just to really focus on what the senses and the calming aspect of it.
That feeling of just thinking about something different than what you were before.
Yes, yeah.
So another thing we have is our grab and go books. Now every kit is going to be different. They're all going to have different ones, whether it's word puzzles or Sudoku. They're all going to be different. So what these books actually do is it reminds you that sometimes life requires you to take a step back. So it gives you that moment to focus yourself and focus what you're doing on something different, I guess you could say. It's kind of just giving you that moment to focus on something smaller.
Yeah.
So you can have a lot of things going on, but when you focus your mind on one small thing, it kind of, I guess, reminds you that each little thing can add up.
Yeah, and just give you that little bit of a break from why you came to that calming kit.
Yeah.
A couple other things in here. There is slime and PlayDoh. These are my favorite. I am a big kid. And a lot of it is like texture. And I'm going to just kind of open this one a little bit. I won't get too much into it or I'll nonstop play with it. But with the PlayDoh and the slime as well, a lot of it is to remind yourself that everything changes. And change isn't always bad. Change is good. We learn from change. And sometimes change may not be the most positive change, but you have to think what outcomes are going to come from that. If it's an experience and we learn from that experience and we know, you know what, that's not an experience that I may not want to go back to. I may not want to do that. So with the PlayDoh, again, it changes and you can mold it. You can create positive and calming place for yourself. You can choose how you want to mold it, so it gives you those choices. Very similar in life, you have the choice. You can either move forward or you can choose to go into a different direction. And
I like the PlayDoh as well, because what it reminds everyone is, even though you mold it into one shape, that doesn't mean you can remold it into another.
Right, it doesn't have to stay that one.
It's constantly changing.
Yeah, absolutely. You can change it to how your needs are for that day or that moment.
Yeah. So one of my favorites is the squishy. A lot of people like squishies. So what the squishy does is it kind of reminds you that it's okay to be silly. Like Lisa said earlier, we're big kids at heart. Who isn't? Doesn't matter how old you are, what age you are. Everyone likes to play, and this allows you to take that break and just be silly. The other thing that we have is, again, another one of my favorites, which is a small thing of bubbles. And it just reminds you to breathe. It's so important just to stop what you're doing sometimes and take that deep breath in, let all your stress build up and that tension in the inhale, and then just release it. So by breathing in, you're breathing in all that stress and tension, everything you're feeling, everything you're holding in. And when you breathe out, you're just releasing it all.
And I think part of that is being mindful. You're being mindful on how we breathe, on
how you're feeling when you breathe. Feel your muscles, feel your brain. What is your body going through while you're taking that breath? Do you have tension? Do you have, a sore muscle somewhere? Do you how do you feel? How does your body feel when you're taking that breath?
The kits that we're supplying here through Derm Alliance Outreach, these are just a starter kit and just some articles. Now, every kit, I would encourage that you individualize it. There might be something that you want to add to it that makes you feel good, or something that you want to look to. Like if you're somebody that really likes to listen to music, include some earphones. Or if it's apps on your phone, have a list of apps that you can go to, or games. There's a lot of different things that you can individualize. For young kids, you can throw different toys in there. There's the spinner toys and
the fidget
spinners.
Fidget toys and spinners.
Yeah. Or if you're a little bit older, I know I like to put pictures of my children and my grandchildren in there, or memories, certain things. I might have a stick in there because it might remind me of something, a time when we went camping. Or
what I've done is I put my favorite book in there, because that book, a lot of readers will get what I mean. It just takes you into a different world completely, and it reminds me that I can get out of my own head. And sometimes that's just what I need, and what I'm sure others need as well.
Yeah, and the other thing too with these kits is, when you want to build on them, I mean, you can do collages on the outside. You can decorate them, you can do crafts, arts. There's so many different things you can do. When you're adding to your kit, you want to be in a little bit better of a place of mind. You don't want to start adding to your kit when you're feeling overwhelmed, or you don't want to have to run out and buy things. So if it's something that you're having an okay day, or you're feeling great and you're at the store, or it could be as simple as a rock that's on the ground that might remind you of something, or maybe you tripped over it and gave you a good laugh. Pick it up and add it to your kit during that time. So when you are feeling overwhelmed, you don't have to worry about what's in that kit, or maybe you should have added this or should have added that.
It's just something you don't have to think about when
Exactly.
you're adding things.
Yeah. So you want to really, again, personalize it. And if you're using it for young kids, again, you can add the toys, or you don't have to have mints. Maybe you have the individual coffee packs, or there might be like a Werther's candy, or
So something that
just something that
feels
makes you
right
feel
to
good.
you.
Yeah. There is a form in there. So on this form, there's support lines, helplines, there's community supports for beds and shelter services, there's listed food banks, counseling and other programs, addiction, substances and abuse support lines, there's financial legal aid. So we've tried to include as many of the community resources as we can. And if for any reason at all that you're feeling like it's an emergency, please call 911.
We would like to take this opportunity to once again thank the people who made this program possible for the Durham Alliance outreach, and they are the Government of Canada's Emergency Community Support Fund, Durham Community Foundation, and the Community Foundation of Canada. Thank you again for watching.
And remember to enjoy your kits, breathe, take care of yourself, and remember you're not alone.